Super Pinches, February 27th, 2018. You're going to think I'm crazy, but I almost declined an invitation to the Super Bowl. I'm not lying when I tell you that the very first thing that went through my mind as soon as one of my besties asked me to go with her to Super Bowl 52 was, how would I ever find a thoughtful pinch to say thank you? I'm crazy. But my anxiety of how to ever convey gratefulness and appreciation for something that big is real. Fortunately, I didn't have time to get overwhelmed by this anxiety because I only had a couple of hours to get ready for a visit from our family friends who were coming over to watch the game, plus get ready for the Justin Timberlake halftime show. Super Bowl. There was no time to think about thank you gifts. I frequently get asked for ideas on gifts for certain occasions, and the last inquiry was a gift idea for the parents of my friend's friend. According to my friend, these parents are extremely wealthy. Like, they have so much money they don't even know what to do with it kind of wealthy. The parents were allowing their 40-year-old daughter and 4 of her high school besties to stay in one of their homes for a fun girls' weekend. My thought is that rich people don't need stuff and would be tickled to receive homemade cookies and a card. I mentioned this, but I knew my girlfriend, who has a big heart, would want to do more. So I suggested a little scrapbook of pictures of all the girlfriends together doing many fun things throughout the years and attach a note that said, "Because of your generosity, you make it easy for us to meet up and spend cherished time together. We thank you for all that you do to make it happen." This will matter more to them than anything because it shows how their generosity is being used. When I decided to take my son to his first away Vikings game at the famous Lambeau Field, my resolve to take him remained, even though the weather forecast kept claiming that it would be many degrees below zero. My husband mentioned my bullheadedness to a friend, and coincidentally, he knew someone that was going to the game and was hosting guests in a suite. This friend of a friend, who didn't even know us, invited us to sit in his suite. He not only had 2 tickets for us, he drove over and delivered the tickets to me since I was staying at my friend's house. Shh! They were affiliated with the Packers. It was a very cold night indeed, and I felt like I won the lottery as my son and I enjoyed the game from a warm suite, eating food and enjoying drinks. During the game, I got to know this man and his family who were hosting us in the suite. I learned that not only did he own the main hotel in town, but many more hotels in other states. They flew over in their private jet because his family is full of biggest Vikings fans. When it came time to thank this generous person, I couldn't get caught up in trying to top off or knock off his socks with a gift. I simply sent him a thank you card, my son signed it too, and included a package of Vikings M&Ms that I found locally at our Target. I think that thoughtful pinch was plenty. He lives in Texas, so these M&Ms weren't locally available for him. Could I have sent him a big basket of wine or a nice bouquet of flowers? Or some signed Viking merchandise? Probably, but I'm pretty sure this was just fine. I spent it $7.99 plus a nice card with a note inside that said, "Please enjoy these treats, but do not eat them on any game day when the Vikings are playing. We don't want the Vikings to get eaten up on game day." Back to the thoughtful pinch to give to my friends for Super Bowl. What's interesting about this thank you gift is that my friend David is just like the hub. Gifts are not easy to find for these guys, but it's not for the lack of trying. My friend Frankie and I shared the exact experience of buying our hubs Rolex watches and having to go back to the jewelry store the next day to return them. David and the hub give super pinches. David bought Frankie an orange Jeep for her birthday because she likes the color orange, and the hub spoils me with Tiffany jewelry and Vuitton. But when Frankie and I try to get our hubs something, it's very difficult. They don't do well with receiving over-the-top gifts, only giving them. I feel like that makes the hunt jaunting, but I appreciate finding something appropriate nonetheless. Should I take my own advice and send over homemade cookies with a card? Do I make a scrapbook of Frankie and I at U2, galas, her 45th birthday party, which, by the way, was more like a wedding reception, a private Sting concert, and Super Bowl to show him how his generosity has strengthened our bond? Well, since it was close to Valentine's Day, I made 2 types of cookies, the Hershey Kiss ones and my famous shortbread heart ones. I dropped them off with 2 cards, 1 card for both of them, and the other card was just for Frankie. After all, she could have asked anyone to go with her, and she chose me. But I still needed a super pinch to convey my gratitude. And just like that, a few days ago, the hub came home with an autographed Xavier Rhodes jersey and a picture of the Minnesota Miracle play signed by Stefan Diggs. A friend of ours had asked if the hub would get something for a huge Viking fan that was terminally ill. In the process of the request, the Vikings gave 2 items instead of just 1. Both items are equally impressive, and so I thought 1 item was enough to give someone we didn't even personally know. Suddenly, I had this feeling of achievement because the perfect thoughtful pinch to thank David for the Super Bowl ticket landed in my lap. I had been thinking about what to give them since the moment I was asked to the game. David, a huge Viking fan, would appreciate this signed picture so much, and I know I would feel so great giving it to him. The load came right off my shoulders, and I was relieved to be finished thinking about this pinch. As I was making my bed the next morning, I thought about that moment that Diggs caught that ball, and it brought a smile to my face because it was one of the best moments in our NFL career. I thought about the hope that moment brought me, the feeling of anything can happen, and it was captured in a picture and signed by the player who made it happen. I thought about this friend of our friend, someone I don't know. I thought, if he is such a big Vikings fan, this moment in time will mean a lot to him too. And if this feeling can be felt over and over every time he sees this picture, there's no question. I want him to have it. Maybe this picture could lift his spirits. It's worth a try. When I told my hub that I changed my mind and wanted to give the picture to this person whom we don't even know, he was glad. And I felt myself so grateful for a husband who has a big heart. So it's back to the drawing board for me, and I'm okay with that. Pinches, Barb. Update. I bought a framed copy of the picture online at Sports Memorabilia, and I sent a 150-word max card with it that said, "David, this image reminds me of celebration, hope, and gratefulness all at once. Thank you for the fun Super Bowl experience. Love, Barb."